Welcome to another exciting episode of the Real Estate Wisdom Podcast. This is episode number 47. I'm your host, Vishal Kapoor, a realtor and your friend in real estate. And today we have a very special guest joining us. Our guest today is David Greenspan, the CEO and founder of MindShare 101. David is a nationally recognized keynote speaker, trainer, and coach who has dedicated his career to helping sales professionals and businesses improve their sales and marketing efforts. With his direct, raw, and real approach, David bridges the gap between online and offline marketing, ensuring a higher return on investment on every marketing dollar spent. David's mission is to help sales professionals build mindshare, creating a top of mind intuitive reaction so that when people think of a product or service, they think of your name first. He's also the host of the MindShare podcast, Sales and Marketing Strategies, a top rated show now in its fifth season. And so, without further ado, join us as we dive into actionable strategies, mindset shifts, and marketing tips that can take your real estate business to the next level. But mostly, we're talking about the changing landscape in Greater Toronto Area, in Canada, about real estate. So please help me welcome David. Hey, David, how are you?
I am doing well, sir. Vishal, it's an absolute honor to be here with you today. I appreciate you and I congratulate you. Number 47. That shows determination, dedication, consistency. You know, and when you want something, you've got to drive towards it. And you obviously are doing that. So congratulations to you. Very honored to be here today.
Well, thank you for accepting our invitation. And I learned from the best. And you inspired us a lot. I know we first met in our brokerage. And then after that, being involved in real estate, in organized real estate, we met in several conferences, and we always stay in touch, and we inspiring each other's and helping out each other as well as much we can. But I'm not sure how much I provide you, but I learned a lot from you, to be honest. And what was the inspiration of doing the podcast is also you, watching you, how you do it. I see some of the resemblance because we both love to talk. Probably you do more than me, but I think I do more as well. So this is amazing. This is like a dream come true, and I really appreciate that.
I am, like I said, I'm grateful for you. It's funny you said about we both love to talk. First, I would say that you are very much an inspiration, my friend. From the first time we had met back at different events, conferences, the office, and seeing each other and continued the conversation. This is the beauty of social media. This is the beauty of where we're at in today's society is we get to stay in touch with each other from afar, maybe not speaking to each other every day on the phone, maybe not hanging out with each other every single day, but being able to watch. And I would say you certainly are an inspiration. You've continued to be a positive energy in this industry. You've continued to be somebody who is supported by his colleagues. So you're doing something really, really great out there. And much the same, too, for what we do here with MindShare. If it wasn't for you and all the amazing people in this industry, we haven't got what to do. We haven't got the inspiration, the motivation for ourselves to be able to continue to come up with the content and the different thought processes and the systems and helping people really achieve what they want to achieve. So I thank you for that. Now, in you saying as well about loving to speak, it's funny. MindShare 101, we've built a business out of speaking with people and training people. But my wife has this funny thing where she always says to me, she says, what I find incredible is that people pay you to talk. She goes, I'll pay you to shut up.
For sure, for sure. I think every better half, especially women, one they're meant to be shut up because enough listening and just listen to them, and which is fine, and sometimes I believe you probably feel the same because you're speaking so much in public. all the time, and when you go home, you in the like a more listening mode rather than speaking mode because you're already exhausted. But I don't think like
You know,
you'll be exhausted because you have like so much energy in you, which I admire.
I'll tell you something on this one
Yeah,
is being out there with people. You see, most people we've got this saying: you're either an introvert or you're an extrovert.
right.
I've got to be one of the most introverted or extroverted introverts you've ever met. I love being on the stage with people. I love being in front of groups. I love helping people, and it truly does come from the heart of wanting to help and wanting to really give back. Take the learnings that we've done through conversation with others, through challenges that have been faced, through solutions that have been presented, and being able to feed those back to people and take real life scenarios and help people through those days. And in doing that, it puts you in front of a lot of people and it gets you speaking a lot. Now, when it's time to, at some point, be able to close it, go into the hotel room, go back home, shut the office door. Yeah, there are moments where you just want to stop talking for a moment because the adrenaline has been at such a high that you're now starting to come down off of that. For me, the driving force really becomes, though, again, the people in the industry. Being able to be out there, and that's where, as you say, with the energy, it's not hard when you love something as much as you do, and when you see the successes and the results that come from it genuinely for other people, they come for yourself after that.
Yeah, for
And when
sure.
you're seeing other people achieving it and you're feeling that you're achieving it yourself because of what other people are achieving, and you've played a role in that, it's not hard to have the energy to want to come out and do it more.
No, absolutely. Like they said, like, love what you're doing or do what you love, right? And they're absolutely right in that sense. I remember when I joined real estate and I was like a senior, 35 years in the industry, a realtor friend who mentioned to me when I asked him, like, how's a real estate as a business? He said, real estate is not a business, it's a lifestyle.
It really
So,
is.
and it's that kept to my heart. And a lot of time, like, even I'm working, I don't feel like I'm working because this is become like a part of me, right? And the reason also, like, I wanted to join because you met like all kind of realtors, like a successful one, non-successful one, beginners, like, senior most, CEOs, presidents, chairmans, everyone. And you get the lot of information. And we all like recycle knowledge. Like, it's not like we come and built in with those information. We recycle those knowledge. And you do it pretty elegantly and to the point, right? So I thought like maybe because the changing, this is for our audience as well. The today topic is more about uh, what's happening with the changing landscape of Canadian real estate.
Mhm.
Is still lucrative or not? Should we stop investing? Should we stop buying? Or should we stop selling? Or we keep on going and looking for the better future? So what's in it? Like, so I thought like it'll be a great idea to listen to what other realtors are saying, but instead of
Mhm.
inviting like in the hundreds and thousands of realtors, we have more than 100,000 now in Ontario itself. And thought like, just go to one person, like who knows like thousands of realtors himself and talk to them. So it will be a great information. So I'm just diving into my first question, David. You've been in the real estate industry for over 15 years.
Yeah.
And my question to you is, what are the most significant changes you have observed in the Canadian real estate market over the last few years?
Look, we've seen it from both sides. We've seen it from the side from the consumer. We've watched the craziness of the pandemic really spark buying habits from people that, they've decided, hey, we're going to follow. Now, look, you said it a moment ago. We're pretty straight to the point. And I'm going to come right out and say, there was a toilet paper mentality. Okay. You've seen me say it from the stage before where I've called it a sheeple mentality. And really what it means is people following other people. And because people follow, and we're always going to have that in society. I mean, you go back to hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, you always had leaders and you had followers, and that's society. It is the way it works. The thing becomes as you are following, Even as you're leading, you need to know the direction that you're supposed to be going. What is the right direction? Now, at the same time, as a leader, you choose that direction and you hope that you can get a group of people to follow you in that direction. And hopefully you're doing it because you believe it's the right direction. All that being said, the followers also need to take a moment to truly understand, is that the right direction? Now, as we look at the changes in the real estate landscape, again, from a consumer perspective, buying habits changed dramatically. It used to be many a year ago that, you would save money, you would go to purchase a home, you would live in that home, and you would do everything you could to pay off that mortgage and potentially stay in that home. As we fast forward and we look at what's transpired over the past 25-ish years, I'd go back a little bit further as the internet began. And then the introduction of the social media is back in the mid 2000s. The connectivity amplified. In doing that, what ended up starting to happen is we started to adapt to what the online technologies are providing to us, and we started to follow people based on what they're doing. And this will come sort of bring together now the consumer and the realtor, following without necessarily doing the homework that needs to be done to see if we're making the right decision. So from a consumer perspective, we're seeing everybody starting to consume more. They're just consuming, whether it be goods, services, real estate. Everybody's got to upgrade. Well, your house wasn't that old. What did you need a brand new house for? Now, some people might say, I wanted to downsize, I wanted to upsize, I needed some different features, I needed a different location. That's fine. I'm not saying don't go buy real estate. What I am suggesting, though, is did you truly need it? Or did you do it because everybody else was doing it?
Peer
And as we
pressure.
look at the pandemic time and we see 2020 and 2021, where the market went out of control, we saw house values climb by hundreds of thousands of dollars. We saw people go qualified to spend those hundreds of thousands of dollars, which they didn't even have. And then those same people, a lot of the time, ended up paying over asking for a house that was already overpriced. Therefore, putting them in a situation where, as we approach 25 and 26, we're going to see a lot of renewals coming up, and we're going to see whether or not people can afford to renew. And so, again, as we look at the landscape, people follow. But what people need to be doing when we look at changing markets and we look at the changes within the real estate game, you've got to really pay attention to affordability. Can you actually afford to carry the cost of that property? Now, why did you get into it? Through consumption and through following. Well, now we come to the real estate side of things and the realtor side, and very much the same. It may not be as much of the consumption part in terms of buying the real estate. However, if you look at the technology, if you look at the tools that we have available to us, people begin to follow without proper reasoning around why they need to be doing what they're doing. Now, I will come back and say, and I'm sure I'll say this a few times in this show, the real estate game has not really changed all that much at all, ever. What people did 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago to sell real estate is still the same thing people are doing today. We just have access to a lot more tools. Like it or not, it's still a people business. So as we start thinking about automation and we start thinking about, the technology and implementing all these things in between us and our client, what we're truly doing is we're truly separating ourselves. We are no longer proving our value as much as we should be, and we're not remaining as relevant, which is actually paving the path for us to become irrelevant.
Mm.
So the important part here is, again, as we look at the changes in real estate over the past decade, 2 decades, house prices have changed significantly. We're seeing an adjustment right now, which is I think well needed for a lot of people, consumers, with the economy. We saw the tools change, and again, there's a big message here to people of, as you see these changes happen, don't just follow. You may not be the leader, but truly dig in and understand, is this the right move for me?
No, you said it right. Absolutely right. And that's what like I said, like the peer pressure, how other people are doing, and then I have to do it. And we have also created that in Canada as well. My first podcast actually was all about why we are so passionate about real estate in Canada, and was likely so. Like a new immigrants coming in, and soon they hear this is the great opportunity. Rent was higher than getting the mortgage. Now is the other way around, and that's why we see the slowdown. But coming to your point, what you said about the technology that impacting the industry in Canada, uh, particularly in terms of marketing and client relationships. So I switching a little bit gear on that, like, we talk about, like, how it's available, but what do you think it's, how it's, how has changed with the client relationships? Marketing, we're doing it because we see all the time. Yesterday, like, the Bank of Canada announced the interest rate cut, and all I see, like, everybody's just sharing the same information, like, just copy and paste to Bank of Canada. That's like, I don't have the access to that information, right? That information is already available. They're not putting their own thing, like, their own thoughts or what's in it for the consumer. So
that's an important point you brought up there, Vishal.
yeah,
Okay. And it's interesting. I just got off a coaching call with a client of mine, and we were talking very much about that. I said, "Did you send the email yesterday?" She said, "No." I said, "Why?" She goes, "I don't have a good reason for you." I said, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" She goes, "Yeah, you're going to say if you sent it, you're probably falling into the same box as everybody else." Yeah, on one side, sure. But on the other side, what I am going to say is you should have sent the email. Now, to what you just said, Vishal, but we've got access to it. What do I got to see it from you? Well, as we come back to client relationship and we come back to my comment around technology, we need to remain relevant. We need to prove our value. We need to build the mind share. Now, how do you build positive mind share? We actually get on a phone call. We actually come see each other. Just it's you and I right now. And yes, there's a whole bunch of people listening to us, and thank you everybody who tuned in to listen. But it's you and I right now. We're having essentially a one-on-one conversation. So there's thoughts that are being shared, there's ideas that are being shared, challenges, solutions that are being shared with just the two of us, which means the connection is becoming even tighter because we've had a longer conversation together. We've been able to dig into each other's minds deeper. We've been able to get into the know you, like you, trust you. And the only reason I'm here today on your show as a guest is because we have developed that over a number of years together of just, hey, I know you. Every time we see each other, yeah, we make good conversation, like you. And yeah, sure, there's a trust factor. I know what you do. You know what I do. It's been going for years, so I trust that that's what you do, the same way you trust that this is what I do. That doesn't get built on interaction number one.
yeah,
It takes time.
oh,
It
for
takes
sure.
consistent effort. It takes consistent action. So when it does come to something like client relationships, yes, leverage the opportunity that came to us just yesterday, Wednesday, July the 24th, when the BOC announced interest rates coming down 25 basis points. Second drop we've seen in a 45-day span. It's now down to 4.5%. This is positive news. We've
Yeah,
got a lot of buyers that have been sitting on the fence waiting and holding their breath to see if they're going to make a move. We've had a lot of pent-up optimism coming into the real estate market in 2024, which hasn't fully come to fruition for most people. So good news is great. In saying that now, what you want to make sure you do is you do communicate to educate. You do send out that email. You do share with people what you want them to know, why they should care, and what you want them to do about it. Once you know rates came down, here's how it's going to impact you. Let's have a conversation if you're interested.
yeah, for sure.
Now, why would I do that when I know that every other person is doing that?
Well,
Why?
most of the
Okay, go
time they are
for it.
not doing the same way. They all have a different way of delivering that message.
That's one. But here's the second one. If I don't send that out to my database, what's the chances there's somebody else, one of the people in my database, two of the people in the database, five of the people in the database happen to be in somebody else's database?
Mm,
Probably a good chance, right?
for sure.
What's the chance that that other person sent out that message yesterday? We saw it like crazy, so
Yeah, for
probably
sure.
a good chance.
Yeah,
Not guaranteed, but probably a good chance. So now if I don't, somebody else did to my contact,
yeah,
whether they've done business with me in the past or I've just put them in the database because I believe there's an opportunity there, or they're a friend of ours.
yeah,
I can't not be there and allow my competition to be there. So I've got to be there.
oh, for sure.
Now, the beauty is if I've got the more personal relationship with that individual and I send that off, it's going to be more well received from my contact than it will
Hmm.
be from the other person. Amplify that. Talk about the client
Yeah,
relationship. You've done the email, now make the phone call. Pick up the phone. Hey, obviously you saw what happened yesterday. Any questions? Did it pique any interest? Did it
right.
spark any challenges? They might even tell you, no, we're not moving. Don't really care. Doesn't impact me. Great. How's the family? See, I've used it as a carrot for
Yeah.
myself.
Right.
Say, Dave, yeah, you want to hesitate? You want to procrastinate? You want to give all the excuses in the world why you shouldn't be making the phone calls today? Here, I've got an idea for you.
Yeah.
Talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, for sure.
And if they don't want to talk about it, switch gears. Be personal.
Exactly.
It's too
Exactly.
easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
And,
my
and and Vishal, this goes
yeah.
back to even what I said before earlier
Right.
on about how real estate hasn't really changed.
Yes.
You make that one-to-one interaction. You don't rely on the email. You don't do the social media posts. You don't worry about what the news is doing. You just pick up the phone. Hey, Vishal, it's David. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, you saw the rates went down? Yeah, of course, Dave. Everybody's talking about it. Great. You
Mm.
got any questions? Anything I can help you with?
Yeah.
Now, for coming from me as your quote unquote realtor,
Right.
I'm doing it strategically.
Yep.
It's like your psychologist, if you had one, whatever, knowing you're in a really bad mood and calling you going, hey, what can I help you with right now? Or your doctor, knowing you're not feeling well. Hey, how you feeling? Okay, what's going on? Okay, go do this. We look for advice from specific people. So when you're in real estate and you've got a contact list, be that person.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, my point was only this is what I was saying, that, instead of just putting the same thing, you have to give the reason. And your perfect example, these are the opportunities, right? Um, you know, out of like a 10 people, probably like all the 10 people know, but one person probably don't know, or even they know, they didn't conceptualize like how it's going to impact them, right? And what is going to do for them. And when we having those conversation and finding out, maybe they say, hey, I'm going to wait for another rate cut, right? Or you know what, this is time to move. So there's an opportunity right there to have a conversation. And the
Right.
combination of those, like, that's what I learned from you as well as the other industry leaders, is having a combination of both, just not rely on one thing. It's You have to do 360-degree approach, right?
Look,
Mm.
when you look at marketing and you think about how am I going to get the message out there, right? We always reference the 7 ways to communicate:
Mm.
in person,
Yeah.
by phone, text message, mail, email, social, and your website.
Yeah.
Go through the checklist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I put the message out there across my various channels? See, gone are the days where we're putting an ad in the yellow pages and people are just calling,
Right.
right? It doesn't
Yeah.
happen like that. So
No.
now it's, well, where are they looking? Well, I'm not 100% sure. What time are they looking? I don't really know that either. What channels do they prefer and what do they absolutely hate? No clue.
Yeah,
But I do know that I've got these 7 different ways to communicate that I can leverage to get my message out there. And as long as I leverage those messages, those channels to get the message out, people are going to see me.
for
They're
sure.
going to hear
For
me.
sure.
They're going to know of me, begin to like me, begin to trust me.
Yeah.
And there comes opportunity.
Well, that definitely, like, you put the nail on the head right there with that answer, and really appreciate that. Um, Now, again, like switching a little bit gears on that, based on what you're hearing, what you're listening in the industry with the current economic climate, what advice would you give to the new home buyers entering the market in 2024?
Don't get caught in the hype. Run your numbers. Go understand what you're actually qualified to purchase. Okay. A lot of folks, again, are going over, they're over leveraging themselves without looking at the future. Listen, in this world of social media where you can look and see everybody with their fancy suits and fancy watches and fancy cars looking out at the sky doing one of those poses, that's not a symbol of success. Some people may believe it to be, and you know what? Perception is reality. People will perceive differently. But as we look at pardon me, as we consume the content on social and we see our friends and our family, and we see other people that are buying bigger houses, fancier cars, granite countertops, and we want, and it's okay. You should want, you should aspire, but don't just think about the house. Go beyond that. And I'm gonna provoke everybody right now. Think about what you want in life. See, because if you can figure out what you want in life, you may just realize that having that bigger, fancier house with more bedrooms is not actually necessary because it's going to impede, it's going to slow you down from what you actually want. And you might say, but I actually want that house. Great. Just before you go buy it, unless you've won the lottery and you've just got millions of bajillions of dollars, if you got that, go buy whatever you want. But if money is reality in terms of needing to work to make it so you could survive, then before you make the purchase, because it's next to unaffordable these days in Canada, before you make that purchase, go figure out what else you want. See, I'll tell you, for me, I want to be happy. I want to spend time with my family, my beautiful wife, my amazing 2 children. That's what I want to do. And as I get older every single day, I realize that's exactly where I want to be. That's what brings me joy and happiness. Listen, I love signing deals. I love making money. I love helping people do the exact same thing. I love it. Put it right up there on one of the things I love most in life. As you said earlier, love what
Yeah.
you do, right? I do. That said, if you said to me, David, you got one avenue. You can either work the rest of your life and enjoy doing that, or you can spend the rest of your life just spending time loving your family. Which one do you want? It's a no-brainer, Vishal.
Oh, for sure.
No-brainer. I'm going the family route.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Now
I-
it's, well, what do you want to do with your family? Do you want to
right.
just sit around and do nothing? Or do you want to go on vacations and go to sports and go on adventures together? Because if you do, let's realize that all takes money. And if you're going to put every dollar you've got into the roof over your head, the utilities it takes to actually live in the home, groceries and gasoline and insurance, and everything else that comes with the responsibility of actually owning a home, because it's not just a mortgage, we know that.
Yeah.
Now you got to look at what your numbers look like. And if your numbers don't say you can afford it, then you should probably hold off, because otherwise you might have the house, but you haven't got the enjoyment of life.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because this is most of the time my advice to my clients as well when I go for consultation. And sometimes they get surprised because I'm telling them like not to sell or not to buy. And they look at me and say, like, what are you talking about? I said, like, look into this, like what you really want to achieve, what your real goal is, like in having the house and become house poor, or you want to live happy life.
Right.
And this is like amazing. And you know what, like when I do that, like, and I build trust with them, and that trust goes like a long way, and I get like a lot of referrals from people who never bought it from me
Right.
because they got the right information or right advice at that moment when they ask for, and they really really appreciate that and admire that. Some people I say, like, you know what, it's a better time to rent right now. You should keep on renting, because paying $8,000 mortgage and getting the same house for 4,000 rent, come on, it's a no brainer.
Look, you also got to take into, everybody's got to take a little dose of reality to understand that if you're going to be paying X amount of dollars in a mortgage or utilities or whatever else it be, you've got to make a lot more than that, because there's a big thing called taxes. And in Canada, taxes are no joke.
Yeah,
They charge you on income, they charge you on sales, they charge you on everything. Carbon.
yeah. Oh,
Don't get me
don't.
started today.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Don't get me started on that.
Right?
Well,
But I mean,
well,
but there's
we will
reality though, right?
we stay in our lane, and I know unfortunately those lane crosses, like, and we have to speak about, like, I don't want to be political, but like sometime you have to be, because looking like at what's going on and how it's impacting everyone, not only real estate industry but everything else in Canada, right? um
Well,
it,
but there's the realities, Vishal.
yeah,
It's just, again, it comes back to, you look at your buying power,
right,
recognize what it is.
right.
And there's the big, like, or maybe the nutshell message.
Yeah,
Figure
yeah,
out your buying power before you go buy.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And on that question, like, I was going to ask you, and this is, I know the answer, but also want to hear from you. What do you
Yeah.
think that on the effect of interest rate on home sales and prices in Canada, how is going to do? I know we seeing the downwards now, but still high. What compared to 2 years ago, right? And what do you think? How is going to
First of all,
impact?
I think that interest rates are completely normal. I think that 2 years ago we saw the most rock bottom interest rates we've ever seen.
Yeah,
I think that this pales in comparison to the 80s and the 90s, where we saw double digits at a point. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with this.
yeah,
In fact, there's everything right with this, and that sounds horrible. And trust me, I don't like paying more interest.
yeah.
things are more expensive.
Who does?
We need a reset in this country. We need the reset. We need the economic reset. We just do. Again, consumption is at an all-time high. The real estate prices have become completely unaffordable to most average families. Most hardworking families in this country cannot afford to upsize. How many conversations I have with people who have aspired to be somebody, to do something, to have something, only to realize it's actually getting further and further away because of the economic situation. So in terms of the interest rates, I do believe that having rates that are going to stall people on spending or make them second guess on what they're spending, I don't think that that's a bad thing. We've been spending way too much money and it's
Of
causing an issue.
I
Okay.
agree.
It's just, it's again, that society consumption right now. Now, in saying that, as we look at the interest rates themselves, there's a couple things here. One is, again, and I think I stated this off the top of the show, a lot of buyers have been on the fence, pent up optimism about what's going to happen when the rates come down. Am I going to be able to get into the market? Look, realities are we're talking 25 basis points. We're talking 50 basis points over the past sort of 45 days,
Mm-hmm.
potentially another 25 coming in September. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got to start to take into consideration, okay, and this comes back to, am I going to buy? Am I going to sell? Well, what's your motive for wanting to move? And if you've got a motive that says, hey, I need to do this right now, then what are the timelines looking like? See, establish the motive and establish the timelines, and we can figure out when it becomes reality that this move could possibly happen. So for anybody who's saying, well, you know, I got, a new job starting in September. I've got my kids going to, university in September. We got to be closer. Well, great. You've got very little time to go and make this happen. But let's just say we're back, in the spring and we're talking about the fall. Well, it's time to start looking now in the spring because if you want to be there by the fall, we need some time to actually make this come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the interest rates are higher. I don't know if I want to get that type of rate. Great. Speak to your financial advisor, your mortgage broker, the bank, whoever you're going to potentially get some dollars from. Talk to them about the rates and then get something in writing that if rates come down by the time you're ready to do something, they're going to honor the new rate. That's number one. So you're taking a little bit of contingency there, some preparation to say, hey, I want to make sure that I can take advantage if things should come down. The other thing to recognize as well is that, yes, although a higher interest rate is going to mean that you're going to be paying more money on a monthly basis, let's look at the savings that you're trying to achieve. Okay, the savings you're trying to achieve by waiting out the 25 basis point drop.
Mm-hmm.
What is that number look like? Is it a couple grand? Is it $10,000 over the year of payments on a mortgage? Because again, let's just be real, and I don't want to downplay the value of a dollar.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
we're talking a mortgage on a house that's hundreds of thousands, over $1 million, and we're talking about $10,000 over the course of a mortgage, give me a break. It's
Right.
peanuts. Okay, when it comes to your monthly payments. So what are you truly looking to save here by waiting it out? And here comes the next part. By waiting it out, as rates come down, what happens? Optimism goes up. People start to say, hey, hold on a second, maybe I am going to go shopping, which then means confidence goes up in the market, which also means prices go up.
Prices go up.
Most likely we see prices either begin to stabilize
Yeah.
where they're at this pace now. And instead of going and saying, hey, I can offer less, I can buy it for a little bit under asking, you may not be able to because, again, there's a few more buyers in the market. People are a little bit more competitive and that price may be what it is, or it goes over.
Yeah.
So again, the optimism around the interest rates and the fact that they're coming down, to anybody who is sitting on the sidelines as a buyer, recognize that the longer you do wait, you may end up seeing higher prices, and that money that you were trying to save by waiting out the drop could end up costing you more because you just waited too long. It's a
Yeah.
catch-22 for sure. There is
It
no
is.
crystal ball. Like
It is.
there isn't, and that's why I come back to forget about the rates for a moment. What's your motive? Or what
Yeah.
are your timelines? Let's figure out if this needs to happen or what kind of wiggle room we do have.
And you're absolutely right. Like, and I just like, I thought like, just hearing myself, what you're saying. So, um, and this is the thing which you mentioned on that, like, talk to people, like, people who are like, having that assumption, just looking at the news and making yourself depressed, it's not going to help. You need to talk to professionals, your mortgage agent, your realtor, you know, money you other people you money lending from, or uh, people in the family, like, your parents might be willing to help you. And is that the right time or not? Right. So it all depends,
But
like,
that's the bigger question.
yeah,
That's the bigger question. Because look, forgive me, a lot of people have talked about that over the past little while around
right.
where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
We've got, again, immigration. So people are coming in with money. We've got gifting, parents handing it down. Listen, you still got to be able to afford to pay the monthly.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. No matter where you get the money from, you're still going to have a monthly nut. Make sure you
Yeah.
can afford to pay it.
Yeah. It just lower down, like, how much you're going to pay, because you're putting more money in there
Of
as
course.
a down payment. But yeah, still you have to figure it out, like, you able to pay that or not. So great discussion and great insight what you have provided. Now, looking into, because it's not only the present moment, but also looking to what's the future look like. What are the emerging trends that you believe will shape the future of Canadian real estate in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'm going to come back to the sheeple mentality. I have been watching this industry flock like sheep, following each other, taking on new tools, doing new things with no rhyme or reason, only and simply because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
And now the latest, roller coaster trend that we've got is artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
The reality for everybody is to understand that AI has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
AI
for
is
sure.
built into many different tools that we already leverage. There are some incredible tools that can be used, and it is blowing up in a very interesting way. There's a lot of amazing tools you can take advantage of. In saying this is where we start to see what that one of those emerging trends becomes, is the use of AI and the implementation of AI. And again, I caution everybody in this industry to remember to prove your value, to
Yeah,
remain relevant. The more you put technology in between you and the people you want to do business with, the less relevant you are, the less opportunity you get. People doing online lead generation. We've seen the trend of that. We've seen it come down on the other side now. We had everybody trying it. Then it tabletopped and, kind of, sort of, maybe, sort of. Now we've seen the major decline in it. And there's still some people that subscribe to it and pay a few dollars a month to it and see some stuff from it. But most people you talk to don't see anything from it. And I would beg the question right now to say, if we can't find the buyers ourselves at this moment, in speaking with people, you're telling me that there's all these buyers just hiding out behind computer screens that are, the lead gen companies are getting them all? I'm calling BS on all that.
for sure.
But again, what we've got is we've got a lot of people that are following like sheep, thinking that that's the way it goes. So as you look at emerging trends and we look at where is it going, it's going to continue to flourish in the world of technology. Okay. In saying that the technology is going to flourish, we want to make sure that we do as well.
For sure.
So the big factor here is to remember, again, people business. Now, what I also see out there is where we were told no open houses, no door knocking, no in-person stuff back during the pandemic. We've now seen a resurgence of that in a massive way. Door knocking is becoming more prevalent. People are screaming from the rooftops how well it works, which they always have. Just a lot of people, because technology decided not to do it. We also see that the open houses are a big way to go out and meet new people, prospecting, new opportunities, new relationships. So again, where are we? We're back to the people business. So I do see a trend emerging here that we're starting to recognize, outside of all the tech that we've been accustomed to over the years and the fact that we were forced into a virtual world at a
Hmm.
time. People are getting back to really loving being with other people. So there's going to be a nice blend right there of a lot of the people that understand what it takes to succeed in this world, in this business, are going to continue to be people and
Yeah.
continue to not necessarily get fully caught up in the bright shiny objects.
Right.
We also saw the fact that social media, although again a mainstay for everybody's world these days, it's no longer the bright shiny object. It's now just part of who we are and how we operate.
For sure.
Right. So again, leveraging it to make the connections, not just to, posture. We had somebody on the show, our show, the MindShare podcast recently, who talked about and said, don't just be interesting, be interested.
Hmm.
So you're going to post about you, but get involved in the conversation for others. And so the
Exactly.
trends that I see coming and what I'd like to see continue is that emphasis on the one-on-one connections, the people being people with each other, because those in this business who have survived for decades, those who are crushing it right now,
Yeah.
those who continue to prosper in this business recognize it's a one-on-one business, and the more one-on-one you have, the more success you will have.
No, absolutely right. Like, and that's a lot of people ask about, like, and the new realtors when they join in, how to generate leads and stuff. And well, it's how much like relationship building you're going to do, how much people you're going to network, and that's what's going to continue. Like, that's never going to end, in my opinion. It changes, like, how you converse, how you connect with them, on what point, but same thing, like a one-on-one is never going to go away. More people you talk to, it doesn't matter like in how great you are on social media, maybe in person you're not that great, and you might not connect, or you not maybe resonate with them. That's a different story. And it happens the other way around as well, that you might not be great on social media, but when you meet in person, they know your knowledge, they know how involved you are in the industry and how much you connected in the community and how much knowledge you have, based on not like what everybody is saying, but you also bring in the what's for them and
Mm-hmm.
what's right for them or not. I think that's a way to go, especially with the use of digital platforms. I think like digital platform, what it did actually, it's keeping you on the face most of the time, so people don't forget about you. But like it, just like you said, you know, all the venues you have to look, because a lot of people also moving away from social media. That's the because
I
they
can't
find it.
stand Facebook anymore.
Yeah, like I said,
I
like
can't stand it. I barely go onto Facebook anymore. I use
yeah.
Instagram. Once in a blue moon, I might check out TikTok.
And the rise of like these, like with threads and TikTok notes and everything, every day like a new technology coming in, a new platform, people move on to that platform and they leave the other platform. The other day my daughter was saying that to me, like, oh, you on Instagram? I don't want Instagram anymore. I was like,
See,
yeah, right.
but that's the kids. The kids love Snapchat,
Yeah, they like
right?
Snapchat.
But
That's it.
this is the thing. This is why I come back to this, and it's a great point you bring up, right?
Yeah.
And it's consistent with what we were saying a few moments ago there around the trends and where social media has become just a channel. It's no longer the bright shiny object.
Yes.
People are a lot more selective. We're also exhausted by the amount of content we are paying attention to,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
messaging that comes across. Hence the importance even more for the one-to-one communication. Now, in those 7 ways to communicate, we've got the messaging, the passive touch points, email, direct mail, a social media post, a website. They're what we call passive.
Yeah.
Okay. They're channels that are going to be there that we should be delivering a business message across at certain times, or maybe all the time, depending on exactly which channel it is. But people will discount them quickly just based on the fact that, again, you're not there. So they don't feel bad discounting it.
Yeah.
Now, those messages are one to many.
Yep.
We have several times on this show so far talked about the importance of the one to one.
Yeah.
Well, the importance of the one to one actually comes from doing the phone call, doing the text message, going to see people in person, doing the DMs through the Instagrams. That's where the one to one comes from.
Yeah.
That's
Like
where true connection comes from.
that's what I say. Like, if you're going to eat, right? Why don't you go and eat with them? Right? You're going to have a drink. Why don't do enjoy at the same time while you're meeting people? That's the best way to do it, and in my opinion,
Now, I
that's
will
how.
say this to that. I
Yeah.
will say this to that. This is for anybody that's in the business. Do not go for lunch for 2 hours a day with somebody different every single day, 5 days a week. I
No, no,
assure you,
no.
those 10 hours will not be 10 hours well spent.
Oh, for sure, for
You
sure.
have to be selective. There's too
Have to
much
be
to do in a
selective.
day.
Absolutely. And depending upon like, how you're connecting with them, and, when you really interested and you want to sit down and have a discussion with them, but meet people uh, all the time. And a lot of people say like, I don't have a database. I don't have people. I don't have this and that. I'm like, well, you have to go out you just have to go out. Even you move like a new to the country and you started the business, you have to meet people. If you don't meet people, you don't. And, you know, like I said, like, Rome was not built in a day, right? So, and that's what I learned in this industry is being consistent, being persistent, and have
Yes,
patience,
sir. That's right.
right? And these three things, like, having a discipline for sure. Like, if you don't have a discipline, you're not going to do the other three, right? So really, really help that. Moving on, we talk about the relationship and networking a lot. Now, we've seen a growing focus on sustainability in real estate. And what role does sustainability play in the current market, and how do you see it evolving?
Be more specific when you say about sustainability. Sustainability in what?
Sustainability in the real estate means, like, having those housing which are, um, more climate friendly or energy efficiency, sustainable house. And also, like,
Mhm.
the challenges these days is about affordability, like affording, you know, uh, those houses which people can afford, right?
Look, okay, so two things there then.
Yeah.
Okay, I look at them somewhat separately,
Mm.
with some sort of combination in between. I'd say from a sustainability perspective, I think that yes, the fact that we can get into green homes, we can get into solar panels, we can get into different ways to, I mean, hey, insulation, right? The way
Yep.
the homes are insulated can save you money when it comes to your energy bills. Yeah, 100%. And I think that we're going to continue to evolve. I don't know what the first house was made of, but I assume it was probably a bunch of boulders or a bunch of sticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point, we began to evolve. And, it went from like how many layers do we have between, living in our house to outside our house? There's probably 4 or 5 layers there between drywall and
Right.
insulation and sheathing, vapor barrier and, bricks or stone or stucco, whatever you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've grown. We've continued to evolve. We're now seeing people making 3D homes made out of concrete, and they're still insulating those incredibly well.
Modular
So
homes.
there's a lot of evolution that's coming to the construction world.
Right.
Okay, that also then is going to bring upon more cost to people in terms of what those homes are valued at. Now, I will say, as we talk about that in a different light in terms of affordability,
Right.
um, housing is unaffordable. If you do look to our friends in the South and you start to look at places like Texas, for what you can purchase down there, for the size of home, for the cost that you could purchase it, you can barely purchase a, single car townhome here in Toronto. Okay, or some of the major urban centers in this country.
Forget about
That
that. You
is not
cannot buy
good.
the condo these days.
Well,
The
and if you can
shoeboxes.
buy the condo, you might not be able to afford the locker, right?
That's
Like
right.
this is the problem. This is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Maintenance fees. This is the problem. So
Huge.
they're two, to me they're two different topics: affordability
Yeah.
and sustainability.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the sustainability is it's hey evolution, right? But this whole thing about carbon
Yeah.
emissions,
Yeah.
whatnot. Hey, we are going to live. We are going to continue to live. I do believe people need to be considerate to others, and I believe that there's also an issue out there about most people being very inconsiderate with others these days. But from everything to the way you keep your home, to the way you run your home, to the usage on water and hydro, this really does get down to the core of sustainability, right? We're looking at urban centers that they're trying to build up instead of building out because people want to be closer to the urban centers.
Right.
I saw something that the PM put out the other day about the fact that baby boomers, are living in too much house. Well, excuse me to say, who are you to tell them what they're living in? They've been living there since long before you were even in power.
That's
And
true.
so you look and say people will live and should be able to live where they want to live. The realities are we've caused the problem for ourselves through this issue of consumption.
Yep.
And that is what's raised prices and made it more unaffordable. And so now, if we look and say, okay, well, that house is built a hell of a lot better than this house because they're using a higher R value in the insulation, and they're using, they've got other options like solar energy. Well, you're going to pay more. It's got more features. It's just like buying a car. It's like getting
Well,
a hotel room.
well,
It's
to
like
your
going to a
point,
different
like,
restaurant.
I think, like, your point is, like, the same thing. The reset is need to happen on that side as well, because this is not keep on going because the federal is not talking to provincial, provincial not talking to municipal, municipal, they all not talking to each other. And like, we recently did the armed rep have conducted the roundtable with involving MPP, MP, from town, like a town councilors and stuff. And we have seen that but looking to builders, and they all have put the concern with all the blue tape and everything. These are policies and procedures which the people hiding behind that we cannot do this. My hands are tied and everything. That's need to shake up. Say hey, wake up. What
Again,
you're
we're going to go
doing
down
is
a
not
rabbit
going to
hole,
help.
and I know we don't want to do that today.
Yeah, we don't want to
'Cause
move that.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to
Maybe
tell
we
you something. The reason, Vishal, we're there
Yeah.
is because people are scared to step up and be the person that's going to say, "Hey, this is what we're doing."
Right.
Okay. And everybody's we've become a society of wanting to apologize.
Yeah.
Stop apologizing.
No, for sure.
Right. Let's do what we know is right. Let's stop worrying about the fact that we might be hurting one particular group because they want to raise their hands and go, look at us, nobody cares.
Yeah.
We've got to look at the bigger picture of society.
For sure.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's moving back to
That's another show.
Yeah, that's we can do another show for that for sure. Now talking about a lot of realtors they complain about buyers behaviors, and buyer behaviors have changed. So
Yep.
how can real estate professionals adapt to the changing buyers behaviors and preferences are we seeing in 2024, or even in the last year it was the same as well?
Take control of your own world.
Mm-hmm.
Just because a buyer, anybody says jump, why are you saying how high? And then you got a lot of people who go, I got to get the deal. Well, okay, so are you that, beholden on that particular deal that you need that deal, even if the person's a real pain in the butt, or they don't treat you well, or they're rude or disrespectful or inconsiderate? Do you really need it? And if you need it that badly, I ask you, what do your days look like on a regular? Hence my first comment of take control of your day. See, because when you take control of your day, one thing you're going to recognize is that you're going to have admin stuff you need to do. You're going to have personal stuff that you need to do. You're going to have client-facing stuff that you need to do. And that is the whole encompassing of running your day, running your business, and running your life. Well, if I come back to, and I think we talked about this off the top, but if I make myself number one, then I'm in the right frame of mind to be able to serve for others in the best ability I can and do the best I can. However, if I allow everybody to take control of my days and my time, then I'm not serving me, and therefore I'm not doing the best I possibly can. So as you look at buyer behaviors, the connectivity of these distraction devices, aka phones, they allow people to reach us way too quickly, and we believe because they've reached us so quickly that we've got to reach back as quickly. However, when you take control of your days, you're going to have certain times of your day that you might look and say, okay, that's when I'm going to get back to people. Or you might have certain blocks of time that are open specifically just to breathe. Okay, maybe that's an opportunity to get back to people. However, if you're allowing your admin and your personal and even some of the business tasks to drop because of the connectivity and the fact that they said jump, you're never going to have the success that you want. So as we adapt to the way the buyers are these days, who are a lot of people who want to shop, they want to look, they expect that you should drive them around and open doors for them without signing a BRA potentially. We've also got to be specific on how we run our business and what our processes are. And you've got to take into consideration that if you truly are going to run this like a business, get something signed on paper so that you've created an actual client relationship with them, not just the fact that they know who you are and what you do, because now they're going to keep pulling on you and you have really no recourse to potentially get the remuneration that you should get for the work that you're putting in.
No, you're absolutely
so
right.
Again, nutshell here. They can get to you faster. It doesn't mean you need to get back to them as fast.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be disrespectful and ignore people. I'm not saying that at all. And I will go the distance right now and say this. We did the study a number of years ago. One of the worst things that, or one of pardon me, the biggest thing that bothered realtors about other realtors was the lack of communication. The thing that most realtors wanted from other realtors was more communication.
Yeah.
So we know that communication is lacked, and we know that a lot of times you will message a colleague in the industry and they will not reply. Why?
Some people don't even,
we have phones.
Some people don't even publish their direct phone number to reach out to them. And that's Come
Hey,
on.
email, social media, anybody's able to get a hold.
Yeah, for sure.
You're able to get a hold of people if you want to. Okay,
Right,
so
right.
again, I'm going on one side here saying in an industry, communicate better with each other, have
Yeah,
respect for each other.
yeah,
Then I'm saying the same thing now. Don't allow the bad habits of that to translate to the clients,
right.
where you either don't get back to them at all, or you get back to them the second they say jump.
Yep.
How to adapt? Control your days.
Perfect. 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 Really appreciate that. Um, I know you known for your expertise in keep in touch marketing. And we already talk about so much about it and some key strategies for realtors to stay competitive in today's market is having one-on-one. Is that right?
Pardon me, is what?
It's like a keep in touch marketing, which you
Yeah.
mentioned. You already mentioned like in the 7 ways to connect with them and how like, nothing like a personal connection, meeting one-on-one
Yep.
replace anything else, right? So I
Right.
just wanted to summarize that and just want to see your nod.
Yeah,
Because
no, yeah, but and listen, we have talked about that quite a bit throughout the, other conversation today. You know, really, again, the messaging here on both ends. If you are a consumer, a buyer, or seller, really analyze who is it that has been in touch with you on an ongoing basis. Recognize that that person really does want to earn your business versus the person who you say, oh, but my uncle, my brother, my cousin, my friend's friend. Just because you know them, don't just give them the deal because you know them.
yeah,
Look for the person who's actually working for it, because that's the person that wants to help you. And when it comes down to it, it's the biggest asset of your entire life. Pay attention to that person. They really want it. And then they're going to deliver because of how hard they worked for it. On the flip side, as a realtor, it's the same idea. If you want it, you must communicate.
yeah,
And to again, what we said a moment ago, but I couldn't find their number. I couldn't find their email. Then find another way to communicate. There's not
right,
only one, as we've said, there are seven. The
for
more you
sure.
keep in touch, the more opportunity you have to convert. And if you look at the 4-step attack plan,
Yeah,
generate the lead, which doesn't mean just online. You could be door knocking, out talking to people, like you said before, go to a restaurant, network with people, meet people, generate. The second one is follow up, which means put them in the CRM. And you said that before. Get them in the CRM. Make sure you have a process to follow up. And again, in our coaching program, we teach all about that. We've got a bulletproof plan. It's a referral machine that we've created.
yeah, yeah,
We teach people how to do that. So follow up. Once you follow up, third step, you convert. Now you actually get business. Well, when you do that, there's really this like 3A or 3B. Continue to follow up, because the fourth step, now you get repeat and referral business.
for sure. This is awesome. I feel like I get the refresher on coaching again from you, which is awesome. Well, I have the last question for
Yes,
you. I
sir.
know we got like more than which we wanted to do. Like we talk a lot, but at the same time, I didn't want to stop anywhere because every point you said, and even elaborating on those ones, it's so to the point and very clear. And there's no secret sauce, like which you mentioned before as well in our one-on-one conversation. It just it's simple. Like real estate is simple. We just make it complicated. But I have the
Ain't that
last
the truth?
question, and we talk about
Yes, sir.
the realtors, we talk about the first-time home buyers and stuff. Uh, but what about investors? In your opinion, what should be the top focus for real estate investors in Canada this year, considering the current market conditions?
Figure out what it is that you want to invest in. Figure out where that possible investment might be, and start paying attention to the numbers. Watch the market. Educate yourself. Don't just jump in because all of a sudden Judy came to you with this brand new condo opportunity. Did you run your numbers? Do you know the neighborhood? Do you know what the prices should be? Or did you just see bright, shiny object and decide to run? So really figure out where, then go pay attention for a little while. Because I will say to everybody, over the next 6 to 18 months, we're going to see a lot of mortgages come up for renewal here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as we saw prices skyrocket high, I asked the question back then, and I continue to ask the question. I've been asking it for years. Where are all the people getting the money from? I don't think people are going to have the money a lot of people, to be able to renew their mortgages at the new rates, whatever those rates be,
Yeah.
come next year. Because a lot of those people got in 2020 and 2021 when the rates were stupid low.
Yeah.
So now you're 3%, 4% higher. Can you still afford that? And if you can't, now what?
Yeah.
Well, now we got to sell. Well, you realize the market's not as high as it was. Well, I don't want to lose money.
Yeah.
Too bad. You're screwed.
For
And we've
sure.
seen
Like
it, Vishal. There's been articles out there about people losing $400 and $500 and $700,000 on their properties.
so many,
Listen,
so
people are
many.
only, yeah, but where was the value on that house? Are we talking pre-COVID or after COVID?
Yeah.
Because if we're pre-COVID, you really didn't lose all that money. You just made a bad buying decision during COVID, didn't think about what the future holds, and got yourself in a position where now it is unaffordable. And you
Yeah.
have to take a loss because things are becoming, more normal out there.
Well, similar thing
So
happened, like, in
investors,
2017, like when the stress test came out, right? So people who lost money in reconstructions most of the time because not realizing like what they able to afford and thinking their house is going to sell for higher, and they anticipating for the future value rather than with the current value. And
right?
that's why they got into trouble. So not running those financial numbers, not sitting with the professional, just taking the advice from the, next door neighbor or their friend who did it. And then,
Sheeple.
yeah. That's going to happen. Well, David, like we had so much insight we got from you, and we really, really appreciate that, all the insight. And I like, probably the whole industry over here in one man giving the insight from all the places. So, which is great. Well, this was the episode about changing landscape in Canada in real estate. And this episode is not only just for the consumer, it's for everybody, whoever is listening. You can apply these things in your businesses as well, not just in real estate, what David had mentioned. And it's pretty simple: system, process in place, being consistent, have 101, and provide the value. If you're not providing the value in your business, you're going to be irrelevant, because AI going to impact everything and make it easier for everyone to access that information. So thank you again, David. And if you haven't subscribed yet, uh, please do subscribe. We are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify's, all your favorite platforms, and make a comment. And I'm hungry for suggestions and comments from you. Like, what else would you like us to talk about in real estate? And if you have any questions, you know where to reach out to. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, week, month, and a year. And see you next time. Bye for now. Content in this podcast is for informational purpose only and should not be considered as financial or investment advice. Consult with your professional before making any real estate decisions.